Well, hello, and welcome to the Lost Archives. My name's Owen, and I'm the Dungeon Master of this ragtag group of heroes and adventurers. But it is not about me. It is about the lovely players who join me each and every Wednesday to come and play some Dungeons & Dragons with me. Introduce yourselves, lovely players.
Hey everybody, I'm Claire. And I play Mira, Dragonborn Sorcerer, who's half Silver Dragon, half Red Dragon. And I can do actions now that we have cameras. Yay. Mira is pretty badass now that she's got some crazy ancient half-dragon chimerism magic, and it was pretty cool last week. So I'm keen to do more sorcerer stuff because
Having the camera up, is it like looking in a mirror?
They gave away Mira's. Oh no! They've given away Mira's name.
Sorry. That's definitely not it for the puns. Just a heads up. That's just a little taste to get you started.
Oh, I'm ready with my D4. Don't you worry.
All right, next player, Michael.
Okay, I'm Michael. I'm playing Lockie Hobbs, the Artificer Warforged. He still hasn't rusted, which is a good thing. But he's a little... He's still kind of paranoid about it, so we'll see what happens. Well, he does still have his whale oil, so...
When in doubt, whale oil up.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Cool. Well, I'll jump in there. Hey guys, I'm Jared. I'm playing the character of Jin. I'm a Hexblade Warlock and a Lawbard. We're currently sort of in a jungle at the moment, trying to discover, some secrets. But I guess our guide, the lizardman from before, has died, so we're currently stranded, I think. So this is going to be very fun. And I'll pass it on to Ellie.
Oh, I'm Allie, and I'm playing Lyra, the Moon Druid, who's a little bit out of time, having recently escaped from being stuck in a gem for 600 years. She's currently a giant eagle, and is ready to probably do some scouting.
Yeah, I'm Matt. I'm coming back for the second time, so enjoyed the first time. Yeah, I will be playing Yervith, who is the newest member of the party, and might fill that tracker vacancy that's recently opened up. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, there was a sudden vacancy in that role at the end of last session, but we probably shouldn't get too far ahead of ourselves. I will do a little quick recap. Thank you everybody who joined me for the character art stream that I did a couple of days ago. I think that was Monday. I don't even remember now. Sunday or Monday. You will notice that to my right, in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, you will see that the character art now has some banners with the players' names, the character names, and for our active characters, their stats. That's right, you can see their health, their intelligence, such as it is, their strength, such as it is, their constitution, where it was. They're doing really, really well. And we finished off the character art. I did a little bit live on stream. I think I did Nira's live on stream, and then I finished off the others in some spare time. So thank you for those of you who joined me for that. That was a really fun little art session, doing a bit of live art. I will be doing some composition as well in the future that I was considering doing live. So I will see how I feel about that. If I can bring myself to work up the courage to do live music composition, I will do that. If like normal I can't, and I hide behind my screen once more, you will just hear it on the stream when we next have it playing. So we'll have to see about that. We will be doing a little bit of Sea of Thieves. Jared and I know we're very, very keen to get back into the Sea of Thieves stream with the Pirates of the Caribbean, so you will see some of that, I'm hoping, soon. We will keep you posted of that, because Jared and I are very keen. I know Harley's very keen as well. And there is another D&D stream coming up shortly as well. Not with our A team. This is our A team. We are going to be doing a stream with our B team. Does not stand for the best team. It stands for the Bozo team, who will be coming on and doing a stream with me sometime in the next couple of months. I will keep you posted on that. It's going to start off as a one-shot, potentially doing a couple of solo episodes with the same characters and the same players, but I'll keep you posted for more news. But it will be featuring some streamers that you have seen on this channel before and some streamers that you haven't seen on this channel before. So it could be a bit of fun.
Cool.
That's all of my news. How's everyone else doing? Everyone's ready for some like
Pretty good.
absolutely
Let's jump in.
awful consequences as a result of the
Yeah.
end of last session. So, last session, our heroes delved deeper into the jungle after spending some time with the lizard folk in their village and learning some interesting secrets about Mira. The party headed into the jungle being led by their lizard folk guide, Seth. Along the way, Yervith, one of the last surviving members of the Oxenfurt Historical Society expedition into the jungle, had been tailing them and watching them, decided to reveal himself and introduce himself to the party, having been lost in this jungle for a number of months now. Initially suspicious, the party did eventually warm to Yervith and believed his story of ambush in the forest from Yuan Ti, the snake-like beings who killed the rest of his expedition. However, the introductions were cut somewhat short by the sudden emergence of a large tentacle creature from a nearby lake, pushing up through the dark blue water, grabbing their lizardfolk guide and tearing him in half before their eyes. The party were unable to prevent Seth's sudden and brutal demise. In fact, they almost met a sticky end themselves. A number of you took some pretty heavy damage from the poison and from those absolutely brutal tentacles. But the party were eventually able to overcome the creature from the deeps, slaying it and pushing its mangled, broken body back to sink into the depths of the blue hole. And we are going to jump straight back in, exactly where we left off last session, as the last of the tentacles begins sliding over the edge of the sandy outcropping down into the dark blue abyss of the waters below. You can see the surface of the water is covered in this strange purple ichor that looks like it was the creature's blood. You stand around the body. Seth, what is left of Seth, apart from a smear of blood and some scales on the beach, has been dragged down, still wrapped up in the tentacle that held him, has disappeared from view. And that is where we left off last session. I believe Mira had just dropped down from a tree after activating a wild elemental magic surge, so dropped down next to Yervith. Currently, Jin is standing on the beach, still in lizard folk form at this point, having just summoned a spiritual weapon to start slicing away at the tentacles. The spiritual weapon is still next to you, Jin, but is starting to fade and disappear from view as the magic is no longer being sustained. Lyra is still in giant eagle form, sort of hovering just above Lockie, flying protectively in position. And Lockie, your armor is covered in these little dents and scratches, but as the magic that powers you begins to take effect, these dents and scratches gradually begin to shift and move out as your armor feature kicks in, repairing your armor. Yeah, and that's what you guys see. I hand it over to you guys.
Was that thing?
Terribly unpleasant. That's what it was.
Indeed. Yes. That was akin to the creatures I saw before. Albeit a big one at that.
Right.
Well then, I believe you are in need of a guide now.
Yes. I expect your CV outstanding, but in the meantime, perhaps a period of probation in desperate circumstances? We can go through the paperwork later.
Well, seems reasonable.
Yeah.
I don't think necessary, given the circumstances, but nonetheless, we can talk the finer details later.
Yes.
Well then, I suppose you're heading to the jungle, to the temple.
Yes, that was the original plan.
Yes. Are you still wishing to head into there?
Yeah. I don't see why that would have changed. Can we expect to meet any more of these gigantic tentacled monsters?
Well, if you stay away from the blue holes, then potentially. I don't think they'll be in above the surface anywhere, but there are far more dangerous threats in the jungle that we will have to keep an eye out on. Yes.
Oh.
The jungle is a beautiful place. It is full of life, but also death. We should tread carefully.
I'm great at that.
Ha.
Lights.
Yes, I can see you're quite a light step. But no matter. So should we take a rest here, or do you want to push forward?
What time of the day is it at the moment?
By this point, it's now sort of heading into later afternoon. When you left the Lizardfolk village, it was sort of just around early afternoon. Traveling through the jungle. A bit of time passed there, so we're now sort of heading into later afternoon. And Yervith, you will know that at night, the jungle doesn't just become more dangerous, it becomes almost impassable. A number of the nocturnal predators, a number of the nocturnal creatures are horrific. I think the one and only time you tried to travel during night, you would have come very, very close to losing your life. And since then, you've spent most of your evenings tying yourself to the branch of a tree and sleeping up off the ground.
I think, this is probably thinking to himself that pushing on from here is probably risky, I would say. He sort of says, like, the last couple of weeks I've been trying to keep above the ground, up in the trees. It's safer above ground. But for you, we will need to most likely trek on foot. And he takes a cursory look on at Lockie, realizing he's probably not the best for climbing through the trees. So
what do you mean? You do not think that Lockie can walk through the trees?
Well,
he's very light-footed.
I wouldn't put it past him, but I would like to err on the side of caution. I don't have anything against him.
Well, when it comes to it, I've got some pretty good upper body strength, but yes, I do have a little bit of extra weight.
Indeed.
Do our old plan. We can stick his lower half in the bag and, just stick him on my back. I'll carry him. It'll be fine. It'll work out great.
It would work really well, actually. I could put my lower half of the bag and then use my top bits just to, like, Tarzan through the jungle.
So at this point, we're going to go to the default. So whenever Lyra is in wild shape form, she's mind speaking to Lockie, and Lockie is just opening his mouth, and it is coming, like, her voice is coming out of his mouth. Yeah,
I
he's got
am very surprised by this. I'm like, what is this? What is happening here?
Does Lockie have like a Lyra voice?
Yeah. So he's got like the Lyra voice pack installed, and so
downloadable content.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's DLC. It's $50 from Origin, but look, it's worth it.
It's always
Lyra's pricey.
So, quick question: is this just a lake, like a large lake lagoon?
So essentially, no, so it's just a massive freshwater lake. Okay. the way these are formed, because you ever spent a bit of time, and you would have been briefed on this when you entered the jungle the first time. The volcanic activity that created this caldera is still active, but a number of the holes that are no longer active, the passageways have formed lava tubes that go deep down into the earth. Deep down into the earth. We're talking down deep into the Underdark, and they have filled with rainwater and water from other locations that sort of drain down naturally into them. So they've formed essentially these massive deep pits that just go down and down and down, which allow passageway of things from the surface down into the Underdark, and unfortunately, things from the Underdark passage to the surface.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, so that's going to take another look at the sky, sort of judge how much more daylight we've got, and then sort of turn around to the gang again and say, well, we haven't got much daylight, and I don't want to be trudging through the jungle at night, so we can either prepare for camp here, or if you're in a hurry, we could push on a little bit, but the jungle can be quite dangerous at night.
Yervith, could I get a survival check from you, please? Our first roll of the night. Grab a survival check. Yeah. 28 is a good first roll.
That's not bad.
Not bad. You know that night is a lot sooner than it looks. You can't judge the position of the sun to determine nightfall here, because as it hits the edge of the caldera and the sun drops, it casts a very rapidly moving shadow across the land. The edge of that shadow is often the trigger for a number of the more, shall we say, active plant life to begin hunting.
Right. Okay.
So your time is actually slightly less than a few hours.
In that case, I would be strongly suggest that Yervith goes, we don't have much daylight at all. I think we should probably set up camp here. just within the tree line. We have a clearing around the lagoon that will probably help us, and at least it's somewhat defensible.
Hey, Owen,
Yes.
are we thinking? Wait, can we have a long rest or?
Yeah.
Because I think
Yeah.
we had a long rest quite a long time ago. Oh,
Yeah,
actually, no,
we
at
can have
the
a long rest.
Lizardman camp. I'm not sure when we can.
You took a short
or
rest.
not.
You took a short rest at Lisbon camp.
Oh, okay.
We haven't had a long
So
rest for ages.
You haven't had a long rest in a
Well,
while.
yeah.
Not since the town of Borsky
Okay.
Bridge.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
Since everyone is starting to talk about setting up camp, and you got Yovith sort of trying to find out like a sort of a defensible location. I'm just trying to see. Okay, cool. I'm going to sort of gesture for everybody, come closer for a quick second. Just come here. Come to Galut.
Oh, is this a team?
Team huddle.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, yeah.
Okay.
That's great.
Okay, yes, yeah.
So everyone, get within at least 10 feet of me.
Okay.
Sure.
we don't
Lyra
need that.
drops giant eagle form, I think.
Cool. Yeah, no, we won't need to worry about the map. We'll keep this in theatre of mind. So if you guys nod, I will assume you move within 10 feet of Jin / Galut.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do we
So-
need to whisper? Is that what we're supposed to be doing?
It's okay. Now, just wait a second. And then, as everyone's sort of close by, do we need, like, a camp or something?
I think we were planning on going up into the trees. Is that the safest, Yovith? Another
Galut
It is
has
ideal.
the solution. I cast Liamon's tiny hut.
Hey,
Yes.
fantastic.
Nice.
Can you double check the casting time for me? I believe it is.
It does take 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Yeah,
Oh, wait,
Beautiful,
no,
thank you.
a minute, sorry. A minute.
a minute. Okay, I was going to say, I was like 10 minutes does sound a bit long. I think that's if you cast it as a ritual.
Yeah.
Where
Did you
are
wanna
you
cast it?
where are you casting it?
Well, I'll cast it. That's why I got everyone within 10 feet. Because, what's
Oh,
it say?
okay. Yep.
Yeah. Anyone who's within the dome can move through it freely. So if you're in the dome when he
Yes.
casts it, you're good.
That's why
Um,
I gathered everyone in for 10 feet.
Can
so-
you give
so what-
permission after it's cast?
No, has to be within the zone when you cast it. According to the spell, rules as written. However,
Yep.
in the interests of being a nice DM, I am more than happy to allow you to select creatures within 30 feet of you as you cast the
Okay.
spell. Because otherwise, what you're doing is everyone's like coming in like this and getting all like close together, while you walk around them for a minute going. It's a bit weird. I'm more than happy for you to select creatures within 30 feet of you while you cast it to be given passage through. That works for me.
Okay.
I'm absolutely fine with that.
Easy done, then.
Because it doesn't change the spell in any way. It just makes it a bit less odd.
But yeah, so I'll cast this, though. This will last for 8 hours.
Yeah. Now, does your Lehman's Tiny Hut? Because the normal Lehman's Tiny Hut's just a dome of force. It's as opaque as you want it to be. It's as light or as dark as you want it to be. But I am more than happy for you to add some flavor. What does your Lehman's Tiny Hut look like, Jin?
So it's going to be translucent, isn't it?
Yep.
Or opaque or whatever
Yeah.
it is. It's going to be, look, I'm sort of playing into this, but like it's going to have like sort of the ethereal green tinge to it.
Yep, absolutely.
And it's going to be at the top. It's going to look like a hut, like any other thing, like any other tiny hut would look like, I guess. But it will have sort of like, if you look at the roof, like it's almost like it's not a flame, but there's like sort of, if you look at the top, like it's sort of like the ethereal. It's like an ethereal green sort of flame that's sort of on the top of the roof
Yeah.
that you can sort of see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's just for a
Any,
bit of visuals.
Absolutely. Any other features? Does it take on any sort of like appearances? Because I'm more than happy if you want to say like my version of that looks like a tiny cottage.
Okay.
I'm okay with that because it's just flavor. Let's go for it, hey?
Yeah. Okay.
Or is that like
Sure.
a mask? A mask. It's a giant mask with an open mouth, and that's the entrance as you walk through.
Like Luna Park.
yeah.
That was the inspiration, yeah.
I'm just trying to think of
I want to
For
get
any of
to
our non-Australian viewers,
Giant
look up
lamp.
Luna Park.
Yeah, if you're not an Australian viewer, Google Luna Park and prepare to have your nightmares
Oh my
haunted.
God.
Is all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
You don't
It
want that
probably-
to be a sleep paralysis demon.
Oh no!
Oh.
Oh.
It'd probably
Just,
be
is
something
the
to do.
entrance just getting closer to you? Like,
Just gonna
oh,
make some
no.
Dungeon Master notes right now. If someone casts Nightmare on any of you.
Oh, no.
So
It'll
note that one
probably
down
be
for-
like sort of something to do with the Bard's College.
Yeah, okay.
So it might be more like not like a circus tent per se, but like it will sort of be very colourful. I know it's
Yeah.
like the ethereal green sort of hue, but it'll have the appearance of sort of like. I mean, I guess they're actually, you know what? Knowing Jin, he's quite exuberant when he's Illyrian. So it actually
Yeah.
might not be the spectral green so much as it might just be like a blend of different colours. So it's more like
slowly shifting and changing.
Yeah,
very,
exactly.
very slowly. Yeah, absolutely. It's sort of like an opalescent color. It's sort of shifting and moving
Yeah.
between different hues. But then from the inside, it looks completely clear. As you look at it, it's completely transparent from the inside. But when you're looking from the outside in, it's that opalescent shifting color. Yeah, fantastic.
Actually, and even then, I think because Jin. Now I'm starting to think about it, and
Yeah.
the hut wouldn't look so much like a circus performer hut. It would look more like a more regal sort of fancy sort of tent.
Yeah.
Now that I'm sort of thinking about it more and more.
Yeah.
And it has and then has that sort of the hues passing through, and like all different colors, and they'd be shifting.
All of you watchers, as Jin moves around, I should say Gulut at this point. Jin, disguised as a lizard folk called Gulut, begins moving around, mushering, sort of kicking symbols into the sand with his clawed feet every so often, occasionally taking some components or some things, some like fine silver dust out of his component pouch, sprinkling it around, moving his fingers about, muttering under his breath again. And then the sand begins rising up and turning into this glass-like substance that rises and forms a tent around, taking on this opalescent color. Anyone who's not inside when this happens just sees this sort of, this opalescent shifting color tent emerge. Anyone who's inside, around you, you can see it's completely see-through. And as it moves through you, you feel nothing. It just moves straight through your body and then rises up. And Gulut, you're in the center of this as you finish off this spell. Garut, sorry. Garut? How do you... have you changed it? Or is it...
I just said, no, it's just Garut.
Garut, thank you. Garut, as you change this... As you finish this spell and activate it, you're in the center, and the
but you know what?
hut
I'd
is
probably
around you.
go with a bit of flavor as well. As this sort of hut is sort of coming up, I would sort of like, I'm like, there's something missing. And as I sort of say that, I will start sort of shifting my form back into Illyrian, which is what I normally go for.
The
So like
half-elf form,
as I'm sort of doing the spell and I'm sort of moving and doing some like sort of probably some like movements for the spell itself, my form will shift back into Illyrian. So Yervith might be a little bit taken aback by this. I sort of get swept up in the moment. I don't realize that I forget about Yervith. I'm sort of swept up in the moment of doing this spell and shifting back into something more comfortable.
So can you describe for Yervith
I mean-
what it looks like?
Yeah. Go
All
on.
right, so as I'm shifting, you'll see flashes. So Garut is in front of you, this big like lizardman, sort of green scales, and then as I'm sort of casting the spell and moving around doing movements, and I'm just sort of doing like elegant movements. It's weird because it's like a lizardman. You wouldn't expect like elegant movements, but then you start seeing him shimmer and his skin starts sort of shifting, and before your eyes you start seeing these flashes of white, and then you start seeing this like sort of more half like an elven sort of visage as you start seeing parts sort of changing and twisting and contorting to become this instead of this big bulky lizardman, now you're sort of standing in front of you is an elf who sort of has like these like he still has the same attire on, like the clothes, but he's got more like it's more like long sort of like medium brown hair length. Like to anybody else, like it would probably be like quite handsome. I'm sure the form sort of is, but and as he sort of does this, he'll sort of rummage through. He has a bag, and he sort of brings out this bag, and he starts rummaging through it, and he brings out all these like sort of royal, not royal, but like noble sort of clothes, very fancy sort of a lot of embroidery, like golden embroidery in a bunch of different colors, and he chucks that back on, and he just feels way more comfortable now.
So those of you who are wondering, sorry.
Yervith looks like at first he looks like a little bit shocked, but then like almost like a couple of seconds later, he's like, I knew there was something off about you.
The clothing finally fits for one thing. You're like, okay,
Well,
that makes a bit more sense.
And the inside check last game, I
Yeah.
realized there was something not quite right.
Exactly.
Gudrun.
Absolutely.
I sort of like give a wry like smile and a bit of a chuckle, like.
Do you say anything?
Yeah, I do. I probably go, I knew you weren't who you seemed. I give you a bit.
Oh, I forgot you were there. Well, lovely to make your acquaintance. Well, you don't know my true name just yet. I don't trust, but Illyrian Whisperwind at your service.
Yeah, but I believe you know that already.
Of course I do. I've been traveling with you for like the last few hours.
Of course.
Ours is just a different form. Something to sort of meld into the jungle a little bit more. Feel a bit more comfortable in this skin.
Oh, indeed. But I don't want to, I don't recommend you go out of this hut with those clothes on. I don't know if the jungle will agree with that. But, yes.
Well,
it's
see,
probably
that's
the most,
why...
appropriate attire.
Well, that's why I was wearing my jungle traveling clothes.
Of course. Naturally.
I would be wearing my pith hat helmet, but I have given it to my dear friend over there, Mira. As she's sort of sitting there, just probably good at on still. It probably doesn't fit her like as it would fit my head.
Well, she's got these massive horns as well, and she's like constantly adjusting it. Yeah.
I mean, in Mira's mind, it fits perfectly. But to anyone who's looking, I mean, she's excited. It's making her happy. That's what's important, right?
Yeah, Yervith looks quite impressed, I think, with this transformation. He sort of gives a bit of a grin, and yes, I can see that. You're
and probably a moment of relief as well, given that I mean, your experience with scaly creatures transforming was the Yuan Ti.
Yeah.
Not
There's
such a
a
great
moment of,
experience.
like,
Yeah, I'd probably, as you hear sort of like the cracking of bones and the shifting of scales, there probably is a moment where Yervith is like getting ready to knock
I was
an
a bit
arrow.
tense.
Yeah, and then looks over and realizes, okay, that's white flesh moving across. And then there's pink flesh following that. Okay, this is something else. This isn't. Yeah, no, this isn't what I was expecting.
Impressive.
I'll sort of I'll lean forward and I'll go, see, my friend. Well, to be decided, I guess. You're very good at sulking through the shadows. I'm a bit more hide in plain sight. I can skulk in the shadows, mind you. I can definitely do that. Maybe not as good as you can, but I can still do some subterfuge when needed. And I sort of wrap my knuckles and sort of have this like sly grin on my face. Quite my specialty.
Impressive.
He's a spy.
Well, with a man such with your skill sets, I can understand.
Man, don't know if that entirely is what I am. It doesn't really encapsulate me.
Well,
It's more androgynous. I'm not really sure. The genders of us, my race,
well,
is
let me.
hard to sort of pin down.
A being of your talents, then perhaps is more.
That's
adequate.
probably a better way to put it, I think.
Yeah.
I've never even really been able to grasp that aspect of me. It's quite funny, actually.
Yeah, Yervith kind of gives a bit of a shrug and goes, "Well, I do have a couple of tricks up my sleeve as well, but we'll say that
Well,
for a rainy day."
What do you think of my humble abode? As
Well,
I
it's,
sort of just lean back, I'm like, I don't really know what I'm sitting on, but I'm envisioning me sitting on something. If that's not the
conjured
case,
like a little like
is it
something comfortable?
with this? Can I lean on the dome, Owen, or would I just pass through it?
I'm going to allow that it's your choice whether you pass through or not. So if you walk forwards with the intention of walking through, the magic allows you through. If you go to lean against it with the intention of leaning up against it, it's solid. So its permeability is adjustable based on your needs.
Yeah, and that will be. Is that everyone or just me? Because I'm the one who cast
No,
it.
everyone. It's
Okay.
the dome is adapted. It's magic.
Ooh, magic.
So Yervith
I'll be leaning up against the wall.
Yervith is a bit uncomfortable being on the ground for the first time in 2 months or so.
Yeah.
So-
I will sort of gesture to him. Does he look uneasy? Can I see that? Is that just something sly? Is that just something like very nonchalant? Like I can't really notice it.
I'd be trying to hide it. So
Okay. But yes, my humble abode. For all intents and purposes, we are entirely safe in this dome or tent. It's very nice.
yeah.
I suppose from Yervith's perspective, it's just see-through. Like you can only see sort of the borders and the edges of it. The tent itself it's just like you're sitting outside on the beach, but you can see the edges of the structure, and out of the corner of your eye, sort of as you move the tent, you can sort of see the borders of it. And you know where it is from inside, but it's completely transparent from the inside.
I would probably go outside and like look at it and see what it's
completely
like
opaque.
I will walk with him, and I'll be like, look, we can pass through it freely. Things on the outside cannot. I grab like a rock, throw it at the tent.
It bounces off.
It bounces right off. Nothing can penetrate this unless I have elected to allow them to before I cast the spell. So all 5 of us, we can pass through it, no problems. Anything on the outside, though, they might have a little bit more of a problem.
I like stare straight at Jin. I know it's not you, but I can remember.
Illyrian. Well, you don't even know my name, but I haven't actually said it.
Well, no, I think you did. You said it at the start.
You said Illyrian.
I did.
Yep.
I look straight at Illyrian, and I'm just like, I hope there aren't any creatures visiting the Blue Hole for a drink. They might be interested by this glowing camp you've set up here. Hopefully they don't stick around for too long.
Well, the way I look at it is, you get some entertainment while we just sort of lounge around and have some free time to ourselves. So I look very forward to seeing any creatures that come to Blue Hole, and I will have a laugh, and I will enjoy them trying to get in.
So while Illyrian and Yervith have been having this conversation, while Jin in Illyrian form and Yervith have been having this conversation, Mira, Lockie, and Lyra, you guys are outside the tent when this is formed. So you see it spring up from the outside, the sand making way for this opaque, opalescent glass-like substance that covers the entire outside of it and protects it from harm. What would you guys like to do while this is happening? So most of the conversation in the beginning you don't hear, and then you sort of hear as Jin steps out and throws a rock at it. Onwards. So what would you 3 be doing?
It's quite impressive. I just wanted to sort of have a little. Not really useful now, but I was still doing it. I did want to have a little look around and just sort of see if there was any way we could maybe form like a sort of like even just like a small barricade or some kind of block or something between us and the forest / the water.
Yeah, okay.
Because, I didn't realize this hut was coming up, so...
Yes, my bad.
Well, it only takes a minute to cast. So, Lockie, as you begin sort of moving towards the forest to look for some sticks that you can sharpen into stakes, make a very simple palisade, Jin finishes what he's doing and springs up this Lehman's tiny hut in front of you. I would say that you do recognize the spell, given your backstory and given your history. So, you sort of instantly recognize...
Holding 2 sticks. Oh, well... I'm not going to need this, am I?
You have like a stick sharpened, ready to go.
I sort of look at Lockie. It could come in handy, who knows? Yes, keep up the good work, friend.
I'm impressed with your efforts.
Oh, thank you. I was working on getting this one very pointy.
It's very pointy. Mira, what would you be doing while this goes on?
Recovering. Mira was pretty badly hurt during that fight. So, I think, and previously, I think she'd just be sitting and resting and also just looking at the amulet still. Just really trying to understand what's going on.
Yeah. Is there anything you do in particular with it, do you think?
Maybe just, I don't know, a couple of cantrips, just to see, can shape water work on it? Because shape water works on everything. So she'll just, or maybe just a little fireball, something like that. She's just trying to see if she can imbue it or try and work out its elemental magic a bit more. As she, in the same way she kind of tapped into her own magic during long rests, which I imagine she would as a sorcerer. She's just trying to get in touch with whatever this is, new power.
Yeah, okay. So you sort of head down to the edge of the blue hole, look out into the water, and begin shaping and using some magic. Could I get you to roll me a charisma check, please? So just a charisma check. No saving throw, just a normal charisma check.
Sure. Yeah.
The reason being that charisma is your primary spellcasting ability.
Yes.
You've even rolled 2 for me. Thank you.
I did.
I'll take the first one. I know the second one's nice, but we will take the first one, which was an 11. Mira, as you go down and begin sort of concentrating, closing your eyes, moving the water back and forward, making these small waves to start off with, there's a sudden moment in this surge of power, and the water in front of you that you're shaping freezes solid in an instant, just and then immediately freezes as the magic releases too quickly and too powerfully. Sort of take a moment, focus. Is there anything you say or do?
She just kind of, when it freezes, she's like, shit, I just get... And she'll use some fire to try and melt it, and
Okay, perfect. And that's the 16, so we'll take the 16 as your next one. Yeah, as you focus, the fire seems to come much more easily, much more effectively. The fire seems more connected to you at this point. As you unleash the fire upon the water and instantly melt it and then go back to focusing, you are able to move the water and shape the water as normal with the cantrip, but there's a feeling of lack of control here. This amulet, whatever it is allowing you to tap into that elemental magic, but you don't control it just yet. You are holding onto the reins of a very wild, dangerous steed, barely clinging on. But yeah, that's what Mira does and learns. And Lyra, as you sort of pop out of eagle form, is there anything you'd be doing? Or did you want to stay in eagle form, do a little quick flyby reconnaissance?
She'd pop out of eagle form, but how much of Mira did she sort of notice with the freezing and sort of like the control, like amount of control over the power?
Oh, that's a good question. Can you roll me an insight check, please?
I certainly can. Insight.
Well, I take a swig of Celtic Red Ale from Bridge Road Brewers. Please sponsor us. I love Celtic Red. Please sponsor us.
Yeah, I thought it was sponsored.
You got to check it out. You got to go support this. It's the best beer I've ever had in my entire life.
Check it out.
14 insight. Yeah. Lyra, as you watch Mira working, there is this moment where it freezes solid and you see sort of Mira stiffen for a second and look a bit confused and then concentrate again and cast this fire, which seems to immediately melt the ice. Not sure. She seemed a bit confused and frustrated for a moment, almost as if that wasn't what she was expecting.
And like Lyra will sort of walk up to her, sort of up to the point where Mira is close-ish to the edge of the water.
Yeah.
I actually had a bit of an idea, and I think you may have already started. I was thinking, between the two of us, we could probably freeze a good section of this pond. Like, it could end up being safer for us in the long run if we sort of, make this a bit of a less desirable area for people to come drink. I noticed your ice powers, and there was a lot of power there. I was thinking, there's a fuck ton of water here. Like, you could probably just let loose, sink that power into the water and just like play with it essentially. Like, see if you can get some control. If there's anywhere to experiment with your powers, it's an unlimited source of water like this that you can really try and get that control over it. That's what the other druids helped me with when I was learning. Maybe it can help you.
That sounds like... Well, actually, right now it sounds a little dangerous. I'm not sure. I don't know if... I've always... My true power is from my silver side. My heritage, my family was from the north. And they worked with ice magic. And this side of me, and she'll gesture to her red side, this is, well, a mutation, really. But this side feels stronger with this amulet. I'm not sure which side to exercise. Really,
I mean, your colouring is pretty 50-50. I mean, if that's as good a sign as any to, try and keep it even. Like, is it bad?
I guess it's just practice, isn't it?
It is. Like anything else. And I think with that, Lyra's gonna sort of start trying to sort of freeze sections of the shoreline and like just to try and make it like a less desirable area. So like maybe if that involves adding spikes or anything, like
yeah, okay.
She's just
so
sort of
shape.
like, fuck you, water.
Yeah. So,
Cantrip over and over. Like,
Okay.
Wow.
I'll join in Avatar style. I'll just
Yep.
try and mirror again.
haha.
Lyra's actions, and we kind of do a little bit of water bending together.
Okay, yeah, because I was going to say like shape water. So as one of you manipulates the water into the shapes you need, the other one freezes them. So working together with shape water, it becomes abuse water and abuse magic. So you create a whole bunch of like shoreline palisade spikes along the edge of the shore that will last for an hour.
Whoa.
Sorry, guys.
It's good practice. No, it's good practice at our magic, and for 1 hour we are protected by spikes.
Yeah.
You ever seen like mid conversation with Illyrian, and he's just like,
Yep.
what are they doing?
You see all these spikes.
I'm like,
Probably a bit of you that's like, oh, that would have been handy in the last for the last 4 months of my life.
yeah.
Illyrian will say to Yervith, it's all well and cool. Looks awesome,
Oh,
but
nice.
the dome's still probably it's impenetrable. Like I sort of knock on it, like this baby can just
Used car salesman.
Yeah, I was about to say. Make me a
So
persuasion check. Make me a persuasion check. You can take the kids. Get
That's
60
I rolled a
miles to the
5,
gallon.
by the way.
5 for a total of
You
15.
fit so many player characters in this tiny hut. It's so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Change the outside to suit your needs. It's like a mood ring and a hut all in one. Yervith, you're impressed and convinced.
Yeah, no.
Sounds good.
totally.
I mean, you're thinking again, like how many tight spots could this have got you out of? Like, you could have used this to protect
Could
yourself
do it.
during the night. You could have turned this into a raft if you'd held yourself upside down and cast this. Maybe you could have used it as a way to ride like a raft down the rapids at some point. Like this would have been great.
Yeah. I'm just like, oh god, where were these guys like 2 months? Like, oh goodness. He thinks back to like all of his like really trivial, like seemingly trivial like situations where he had to like put together like a teepee and like a little like little hut in the middle of the jungle, like fending off. And he's just like, he just looks at this and he's like,
And say, Yervith, how did you actually survive in the jungle? Did you have any of these bad boys?
Oh fucking hell!
And I'm sort of like, and I sort of knock on it again, and I'm just sort of
It was a repayment plan.
showcasing it.
Yeah.
I did not have any of these so-called bad boys.
You could have survived 60% more efficiently with a hut like this.
I was up in the trees most of the time,
Ooh.
only venturing to
Ooh.
the ground for necessities. But I agree. This seemingly
Why would you even want to-
impressive-
Why would you even want to live like that? Ugh. Dirty and cold and wet. No, this is the way to go. It's almost like, you know, when you go out with like a shitty tent and someone brings up this incredible like 30,000 caravan,
like a full teepee that like rises itself up from the center, and there's like
You ever like the real like grizzly outdoors type though? And
Yeah.
he just like looks at this. He's like, "You're just a tourist."
This
Like-
is glamping. I know what this is. There's an Elvish word for this. It's glamping.
Yeah. I'm just like, yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm sure it's very comfortable.
Yeah, sure it is.
Nothing beats the feeling of being out in the open and embracing nature head on.
I prefer the comforts of a city. There's just
The city.
Yes.
Disgusting.
yeah, it's my natural habitat. I can use my nature as my race. I'm not really going to divulge it just yet. Just by chance, though, do you have any inkling to what I could be?
Would you like to roll a nature check?
I sure can. Yeah.
Yeah. A ranger rogue. Nature of 13. You have heard rumors of shape-shifting beings. There are a number of beings that shapeshift on the planet of Nostea, on the world of Nostea. Werewolves are a type of shapeshifters. They change forms. There are other creatures that can change their forms as well. There are spells that let you do it, things like Alter Self. But you have heard of a race of creatures that were created specifically for the purposes of being able to change their forms, created by the gods during the battle between the betrayer gods and the prime deities known as the Ruin that sort of wrecked the world and put it in the position it's in now. You wouldn't know too much more about them, but you have heard of them, creatures that can change their shape and form.
They'd be quite rare, yeah?
Yeah, very rare. Well, I mean, the question is, are they rare or do they never reveal themselves? Because the problem is that when they're
That's a very
shapeshifted,
good point.
their biology is functionally identical to the creature they've shapeshifted into, so it's impossible to tell. Only when they die do they revert back to this white-skinned,
really
white-haired form.
Could be everywhere.
Maybe you're one, and you just never knew.
What a twist!
So
We're all
it's
changelings.
you're all changelings. Yeah. No one really knows how many there are, and no one really knows what they've been up to since the Ruin. At least from what you've known and what you've been exposed to. That'd be more of a history check, wanting to sort of know about their past and history. But nature, you've heard about these creatures that can change their forms. The white skin definitely rings a bell. You're like, okay, the white skin's the thing. Like everyone talks about this white flesh, this white form, and sometimes they're known as the faceless ghosts as well.
Yeah, he probably would have seen my form, like just a little bit through my change, because like you do see
it's only a
vestiges
flash
of it. It's like a flash.
The whole change takes 6 seconds, so it's 12 seconds to change from one form to another. So it's pretty quick.
Yes.
It is fairly quick, and we've sort of homebrewed it very, very slightly, where he doesn't have to change into the changeling form and then into the next form. He can sort of shift between them a little bit, which creates this sort of wave of white that moves across.
Nice.
A little bit like who's that character in the X-Men? Mystique. A little bit like Mystique. in X-Men.
Yeah,
A
gotcha.
little bit like Mystique.
Cool.
That's the sort of effect we get.
Yeah, no, I think Yervith like narrows his eyes a little bit and like looks at Alarian and sort of says, "I have my suspicions. If my memory serves, you could be what I think you are. Although that would be quite rare, improbable, perhaps, but
Yes.
it seems to fit.
Very
the bill.
improbable, I think. Yes, as sort of... yes, improbable. Let's just leave it at that for now.
Okay, that works for me.
As I've sort of turned to go back to the dome, I'm going to quickly do, Owen, I don't know if I'm allowed to, just let me know, I'm going to quickly ripple across my face, Yervith's face. As I turn to him, I'm going to wink with his face on my face.
I will allow it because it's hilarious and really
Yeah,
fucking creepy.
That's pretty funny.
It's really creepy.
Really creepy.
So I'm going to turn back, so I'm
My
going to do it
face
while
is
I'm
your
walking.
face.
While I'm
Yeah.
walking away, I'm going to do it,
No way.
and then I'm going to turn to you.
No, it's
So
your
Lyrian's
face.
like hasn't changed, but I'm going to turn to you, Yervith, with your face on my face, wink, turn back around, and then I'm going to drop it.
Yeah,
Wow.
sure. Just creepy. You could have used
I-
minor illusion for that too, but sure, why not?
Yeah.
Oh, but
done
that's a image.
It is. That's true.
That's true.
That's true. You wanted the full effects, like in
I
case he
wanted the
came up
full
and started
effect, so I can-
squeezing your
so I
cheeks
can
and
actually
poking your
wink.
nose. Okay, yeah, fair.
I like to shake my head a little bit. I'm just like, okay, you can shift. All right, okay, you've proven your point.
You'd probably be like, "Oh God, like what? Who is that? They look like a wreck. They've got these dark rings under their eyes. There's all these scars.
Yeah,
their hair's a bit
yeah.
of a. Oh shit, that's me. That's what I look like. Because you haven't seen a mirror in a number of months now.
No,
Yeah.
not really.
Oh my
The
God,
dark,
that's a
actually,
good
yeah, I
point.
would say that probably it's a little bit shocking seeing your face. That your cheeks have sunken a little bit. There's these dark rings under your eyes. There's a very haunted look about you. Someone who's been
Yeah.
through hell.
What's
a green
his,
hell,
what's-
but hell nonetheless.
What's his clothes look like? Are they very messy and like ruined?
Yeah, I mean they're not necessarily ruined, but they've seen like they're well worn.
Yeah, definitely.
Sure.
They're
Yeah.
dirtier more than worn. The cloak he's wearing is pristine.
Yeah.
The large cloak he's wearing that seems to sort of shift very so slightly, and even as he moves onto the beach, you see that it starts to take on some sandier hues, and some sort of small pebbles and shells appear in the decorations and the pattern of it. That is pristine. That's not damaged at all. His armor's there. It's worn. It's definitely worn and it's been weared. There's marks, scratches on it, but the clothing is it's not damaged too much. It's mostly just frayed and dirty, like someone who's been living
So-
rough for months.
As I walk away from him, like within 10 feet, I will cast Prestidigitation to clean him up. I'm like,
Oh,
I do want you feeling a bit better. You've been roughing it too long, my friend. So, yeah, I just sort of clean you up, make you feel a little bit better.
Nice.
Oh, it doesn't affect how you feel. Just want to reference that. It just makes your clothes cleaner. Just want to check.
I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
Great.
I was thinking, I'm like, Yervith's care factor for that would be single digits. Like,
No.
Yeah.
I appreciate the gesture, but I'm just...
Yeah. Now, my question is anyone... Oh, yeah, sorry.
I was just going to say, I think Illyrian's a bit irked by just... He probably smells, so it's probably more in Illyrian's favour because he didn't want to hang around Yervith. Probably... He might smell. I imagine he's been out here for so long, he probably has a bit of BO.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and there's there's a bit of a sulphurous smell clinging to some of his clothes as well. Being down on the forest floor among the jungle, this is now starting to affect all of you. It's starting to sort of pick up this sulphurous smell because especially the black sandy soil, every so often there's a little of gas escaping from underneath as the volcano, which is still active, is still occasionally pushing out sort of bumps of poisonous gas and noxious fumes, which is one of the other reasons why, Yervith, you've been sticking in the trees, is because every so often huge amounts of carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, I think as well. So what's the gaseous form of sulfuric acid? I think it is sulfur dioxide that gets sort of released through that kills things. Like if you breathe it in, sort of one big gasp of air is all it takes, and that's it, you're dead. Another one of the reasons why you've been sticking to the trees. When you're high up, the air's diffused a bit, and so you just get a bit of a bad smell.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm sure you'll be fine inside your
I think as the air starts to get a little bit more unsavory, being on the ground, I'd like to think that I had like this little
yeah, you just pop a scarf almost.
Yeah, little mouth wrap that I kind of flick over, which sort of helps with my just staying stealthy, I guess, but also twofold for filtering out the smell.
The good thing as well for the dome,
you change the air inside of it. Yeah, no, I was kidding.
Well, yeah, okay. I was going to say.
I was having fun. So my question is, are you guys doing anything for your long rest? Is anyone going to be keeping watch? Are you all just going to be inside the hut having a really good rest and relax? Are you going to have a fire inside the hut? Cook some food? What's the plan?
Well, I was thinking of these 4 trees in front of us, in the 3 gaps there. Trying to set up something with my tinkering tools, like maybe getting some like vines and weaving together and like running them under the sand, so that if anything were to step on them or pull them, then I would have something drop and make a sound or something along those lines.
Yeah, you could easily you could even have that sort of come under the sand near the hut, so that it just sort of like knocks two rocks together or something like that. That'd be super easy. Roll me a super quick sleight of hand check just to see how well you disguise it. Yes, she can.
Before we start, can Lyra help because she can provide the vines?
Yes, she can. Fantastic. Do you have Druidcraft now?
She's got Thorn Whip, so she can just...
Oh, yeah, sure.
That's cool.
I don't think the thorns stick around. However, I am going to allow you to Thorn Whip up to the trees to pull some vines down, which he can use, because that makes sense. Yeah. You have advantage on this check, Lockie. Sleight of hand check.
So, am I doing it with proficiency for my
Yes, because you are proficient. Yeah, I will allow it, because you are using your Tinker's tools. Absolutely, yeah. So let's make a Tinker's tool check then. So you got proficiency. Yes, absolutely.
So still sleight of hand?
Yeah, but you can add your proficiency to it.
Add 3, yeah, sure. Cool.
Yeah, 19 and 10. 19, no problems at all. With Lyra's help sort of gathering materials for you really, really quickly, even sort of pulling down maybe some broad leaves that she balances very, very carefully, so that if they get tipped, it rolls a rock down onto another rock and makes a noise. You get basically a series of trip lines set up between the trees behind you. So there's basically the sort of the main area around where your hut is located, the 20 feet on either side. There's now a series of little trip lines that should warn you if anything comes. Not a loud noise, nothing to sort of signal danger, but just enough to potentially mostly rouse you, Lockie, because you don't sleep. You just sort of power down into a hibernation mode. Yeah. So mostly to rouse you if something were to come close. Perfect. Is anyone else doing anything fun? Yeah, that noise there. What you made then was perfect.
I think Yerva's probably going to make some good berries and distribute them out to people to the party.
So we haven't touched on Yerva's magic yet. What does Yerva's magic look like? So when you cast the good berries, are you sort of doing like the classic D&D magic of gesturing wildly and saying magical words under your breath, or is it a bit more natural magic? Is it more?
It's a bit more natural. It's probably reminiscent of Lyra's abilities, kind of, but probably not as polished or not as like well executed. It's within that same vein of magic, obviously being of nature. So yeah, it's a lot more. It's a lot more unrefined, but it still gets the job done. So it's not very grandiose. It's very much just like conjuring up what he needs to conjure up.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea of you sort of like grabbing a stick, like breaking a stick off a branch, sort of concentrating and focusing on it, and then it grows out, and these good berries emerge amongst the branches.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I kind of like the idea of it, rather than being like something you just conjure, you kind of have to use things that you find in the environment and things that you 100%. Find around you. Because it kind of makes sense, like for your character being like very survivalist, bit of Bear Grylls style.
Yeah, absolutely.
As you like pee into a cup and go like, all right, everybody who's thirsty, here we go, Bree.
Yeah, here you go. No.
I do not drink.
No.
Well done.
Lyra just pulls out her flask of endless water. Is like, no.
No.
It's a good point. No, he wouldn't do that. That was the deal.
But yeah, I do the good berries, and I sort of just say if anyone is hungry, these will fill you up and make you feel well nourished. Sort of
the berries look very appetizing. Yeah, very large, red, plump, juicy.
I'll grab one or two.
Yep.
Eat them. Sort of probably be a lot more filled than I was before.
It's like lembas bread. So you just eat the berry. You're like, oh, what about second breakfast?
11s.
How many did you eat? 6.
Amazing.
You all of you feel a bit. I think all of you took damage in that. So yeah, all of you are feeling a bit hurt as you munch down on these berries. There is this sort of warmth that spreads from them, this sweetness and this warmth which fills you, and each of you starts to feel a bit better as you eat the berries and consume them. Each of you feels more fulfilled, feels healthier, more alive, more alert, and more awake. Now, my question is to keep the story pumping. Who's keeping watch? Is anyone keeping watch, or are you happy just to sleep? Michael and Yervith? All right, beautiful. Do you want to take it in 2 half shifts then?
What I'll do is I'll also be up for 2 hours. I'm just going to use some of my downtime to study the Thieves' Tool still, so I can become proficient with them.
Yeah, would you like to roll
I'm sure that Yervith can do it now, but I was working towards that.
Do you want to roll me a d20, Jared, just to see your progress with the proficiency of your tools? Lyra, you can do the exact same thing with your herbalism kit. You can roll a d20 to check your proficiency. Lockie and Yervith, could I each have you roll me perception checks, please?
Absolutely.
And then all of you can also benefit from a long rest.
Perfect.
Fantastic.
Oh wow, that's really
13,
low.
fantastic. 15 for Lockie, beautiful. 4 for Jin. Yeah, Jin, you're not having much luck with your lock picking today. Maybe it's the heat and the humidity of the jungle, but the lock just seems stuck, and no matter what you do, you are really struggling to practice with it today. You don't make any further progress on understanding the lock picking tools. Lyra, with an 18. You're being in this new environment, you have gathered a few more supplies for your herbalism kit, and you've been using some of your magic, some of your natural knowledge to identify these. Maybe some sort of like botany book. Maybe you've got a little book of plants with you that one of your druid mentors gave you when you left and graduated from the circle. And as you're sort of flicking through and looking, you identify a couple of plants you think would be very helpful in managing and assisting in herbalism. So yeah, you advance on herbalism. You are very close to being proficient in the herbalism kit. Yervith, you take first watch. As everyone bunkers down for the night, begins to rest and relax and get ready for sleep, night falls incredibly quickly. The shadow that moves across passes over the ground very, very rapidly, moving across the beach, and there's an instantaneous change that all of you notice. The water begins glowing ever so softly. Little particles, these little motes of blue light moving just under the surface of the water, begin rising up from the depths, making this carpet of brilliant light blue light across the surface of the water. It is stunningly beautiful. The sand as well takes on a very incandescent, obsidian-like sheen, almost like a purple light glowing from the sand itself, reflecting the stars above. This very black, volcanic sand that you are sitting on. Not in the tent where you are, that doesn't change, but everything outside of the tent goes through this change. It is as the darkness covers it. For your watch, as you begin looking out, you are very attuned to the sounds of the jungle, you're attuned to the danger, but you've spent most of your time in the trees, and the sort of dangers that you've been looking for, you're not used to here on the ground. Only as it passes right by the outside of the hut, because you're looking towards the forest, you realize that behind you a massive, easily 12, 13 foot black panther pads softly across the sand, sniffing the edges of the dome. You turn, silent, watching. Moves curiously, tests it with its paw, passes by, moving back into the jungle undergrowth. That is all you see on your watch.
Wow.
As you
That's all you see.
rest down. That's all you see as these jaws. No.
As you die.
Yeah. No. That's the only thing you see during your watch as you sit down and pass over to Lockie, sort of giving him as you sort of look over. Lockie has just sort of sat still and hasn't moved for the last 2-3 hours of your watch. And as you sort of go to relieve, like the second you sort of move over, Lockie just nods and you sort of go, "Oh, yep, okay."
Yeah.
Just head to bed.
Okay.
Lockie, 15 perception. You position yourself right in the very middle of the hut, standing like a sentry, and your head just rotates on a swivel the entire time, just continually with this tick, 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 almost like a sprinkler.
That's funny.
The ticking sound is very soothing for those of you inside the tent. It sort of gives you something rhythmic to focus on to fall asleep. Lockie, as you look out across, you see in the blackness of the pool, underneath this layer of light, shadows and shapes moving in the water. Emerging from the forest about an hour and a half into your watch, these very strange 6-legged deer-like creature with these long curling antlers and 4 eyes, sort of 2 and 2 on either side of the head, begin sort of pacing out these large spots across their body, these sort of white speckled spots, moving, padding very softly across the sand. While 2 of them bend down to drink from the water, one of them sort of looks up and begins sort of focusing on the jungle, before a fin cuts through the water, splitting the light that's hovering above the surface, and a massive shark breaks the waves, grabs one of the deer and pulls it back into the water. Bleating sound goes from each of the deer as they begin scattering, the one that was on watch and the one that was drinking, as they scatter to run back into the jungle. One of them, not quite seeing your Liam's tiny hut, has to leap over it in this incredible bound as its 6 legs just graze the top of the hut before it disappears back into the forest. And you hear the waves sort of against the surface of the sand. I would say that anyone who's a very light sleeper is woken up by this sort of splash and this noise from one of the deer as they begin like running and bleating and moving back into the forest. The rest of your watch passes without incident.
That was surprising.
Wow.
These are all the dangers that you guys could have encountered, but because you have Liam's tiny hut,
Hell yeah.
That's
no problemo. No problem at all. Lyra, did you want to take a shift? Because there's space for you if you did want to take a night shift.
Apparently would, just to see what kind of creatures there are
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah, it's not so much keeping watch for danger, it's like an academic process for Lyra.
Oh,
She's like,
yeah.
"Alright, I'm on
It's
surveying tonight.
entirely for fun.
Yeah, I'm doing a night survey. Here we go, I'm going to sit down and start cataloguing everything I see. Jared would know all about these.
Well,
doing-
as
I have-
Lockie wakes her up, he will Lara. I saw a deer with 6 legs and 4 eyes, my dear. And a gigantic
That was
shark.
deer and a half? No. Maybe the wrong number of eyes.
Fair enough.
It's just 2 deer, with one of them each with 1 leg. Oh, each with 3 legs, sorry.
Well, now that's half a deer. I mean, there were 2 of them, and there was a gigantic shark, and now there is 1.
Giant shark?
Giant shark, yes, jumped out of the water and just devoured it.
You get a good look at it? Like, how big was it? Like, are we talking like giant, or are we talking like giant?
I think
Yeah.
it was about 10 feet at least.
No, as the bit you saw was 10 feet. The shark itself would have been closer to 25, 30 feet long. It was massive.
Oof.
Well, the bit that I saw was
huge.
10 feet, but it wasn't completely out of the water.
And the other thing that probably stood out to you a little bit, Lockie, as well, was the fact that it's around its mouth were arranged all of these tentacles with suckers on them.
No.
My goodness.
Almost like a
Ah.
wobbegong. Sorry, guys. Sorry. The comment from the chat: standard Australian shark. Nice. Yeah. Nice. Sorry. Love it, chat. Good. Keep it coming.
It was like something out of a nightmare. I've never had a dream, but I've had them explained to me, and it sounded like a terrible one. And it,
Everyone, just Google the wobbegong shark, and
oh, yeah.
that's exactly what it looks like, but black and massive. Enjoy,
also,
everybody.
The fact that it was a shark in a lake,
Oh.
but I mean, anyway. So you should have some fun in your watch. Keep your drawing book handy.
She's got like her notebook ready, like she is
Yeah.
just fully prepared taking notes.
Yeah. Lyra, would you like to roll me a perception check, please?
He certainly will. Where's that perception? There we go. Normal last perception roll.
19.
Nice.
Nice.
Okay.
Lyra.
I'm going to sit on neutral for a while, but if anything really great comes, wake me up.
Just click the mouse 3 times. Phew, I'll be right back. Yeah, Lyra. As you sit and take watch, pulling out your book, you're sort of flicking through, sort of going, oh, we're north of the equator, so we're looking at this chapter, and then it's a bit of a weird environment here. It's not your typical sort of jungle environment. So maybe we're looking for some like fire creatures as well. We're looking for some like hot weather, and so flicking through, trying to get a bit of an idea of the sort of creatures you're going to be seeing. Out of the corner of your eye, you sort of catch a glimpse of movement, and you turn and look dead in the eyes as a large serpent-like creature with the body of a man with a large, long spear begins slithering along the beach.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
That's not good.
She is full blown, like, she is, like, grabbing Lockie, she's trying to, like, pick Mira, like, she's doing her best to, like, not take her eyes off the snake, but, like, she is full blown, like, just flailing.
That's a good question. Does sound exit Learmon's tiny hut? It's Dome of Force. All creatures and other objects are barred from passing through it. Spells and other magical effects can't extend through the dome or be cast through it. Doesn't say if sound travels in and out of the dome.
I think that's
That's a
going
good
to be
question.
your call.
It is going to be my call. If light doesn't travel in and out of the dome in both directions, I'm going to argue that sound doesn't travel in and out of the dome in both directions. I'm going to say that light moves in one direction, sound moves in the exact same direction. So light and sound are allowed in, but they are not allowed out because it doesn't allow light out. Therefore, it wouldn't allow sound. I'm going to rule.
Okay.
So inside the dome, anything you say cannot be heard on the outside, but you can hear everything outside the dome.
That's actually pretty good.
But that's how it works with light. So I am going to argue that it does also work with that for sound as well. Because if it works like that for light, it would make sense it works like that for sound. And that seems to be the intention.
Because sound would get like caught inside.
That's what I'm thinking, because it basically it just doesn't allow sound. Oh yeah, that's a good point, Lockie. As sound comes in, it just echoes infinitely in a sound chamber. Your clothes, you and the ground would absorb the sound. Like you're wearing cloth, that's going to start absorbing the sound.
Yeah.
But that'd be a cool idea. If you wanted to like kill someone with sound waves, you could like quickly drop a Learmon's tiny hut, and scream in it, and then just watch as it bounces around.
Or torture someone.
Yeah, there's that. Also, don't have a spell that you can hear from like a kilometer away, so...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you could do shatter. You could just cast Learmon's tiny hut, put your hand in, and shatter. Too dark.
Too dark.
Too dark. Let's get back to the murderous snake people, because that's not too dark. Yeah, Lyra, you're kicking people awake and like punching them and like trying to like grab people by the hair to wake them up. You do wake up everyone in your vicinity. It's a 10-foot radius hut. You as you flail about, you do wake everybody. There's no way you can't reach them all.
She just straight up, she is like, point, she like, identifies that snake man with spear.
What do you think about this?
I am like still. I'm just like dead eyes on the snake man, and I just say like super quiet, like 1D. I put a finger up, and I just
Nice.
I'm
God.
sort of
and
like,
I have my hand on my bow. I'm ready to knock an arrow. I'm just like waiting, like.
And in Yerva's mind, you just hear "fuck."
Yeah. I'm just,
so Illyrian's sort of trying to get his sleep, so he's been woken up. He's still going to remain in his bedroll and just go, yes, cool, yeah, whatever. And then I just sort of turn back over because, like, I know how the dome works, and I'm not fuss with it. I'm just going to get a good night's sleep as everyone else is panicking.
I'm still
I'm not
very
even going to take
quiet.
into account what is out there.
I don't
Yeah,
know
that's-
about noise. I'm just like,
No, that's true. You guys wouldn't know. I think probably only
No.
Lockie and Jin would know about how the way this dome works, because Miri, you've not had any exposure to this spell before.
No.
Lyra's not had exposure. Yervith, your exposure to magic is very different type of magic. It's very
Yeah.
arcane magic. So yeah, and all of you are just like dead silent, thinking like, he can't see us. Can he hear us?
yeah.
I'm too like tired and sleepy to even bother telling them about this
Yeah.
because I just want to go back to sleep. So I'm not going to even pay attention to them whispering.
You hear like Jin go, like disappear in his sleeping bag, like tie up the end as he just disappears inside of it. Oh man.
Yeah.
So the Yuan Ti, very large. The snake body is large and thick and takes on after a sort of like a green python-esque. Are you laughing at large and thick, are you, Matt?
No. I wasn't laughing.
Oh, okay. I just saw your face make a funny face and I was like,
No, I was just like, I was terrified at the thought of a big, thick
Large,
snake.
thick snake.
a large,
Yeah.
thick snake. You can't even grasp it with both hands. No. As it starts sort of as the figure moves down the beach, it takes after a green python. These sort of like speckles along the body, but very dark green upper body, very light, pale green lower body, as if it's meant to blend in and camouflage with the tree line. Not so much on this beach. The humanoid form looks very serpentine. The nose is quite squashed flat in his two slits. The eyes are very, almost like this bright yellow, this very, very large white yellow. Hair is sort of this long, slicked back into a ponytail. No body hair or anything like that. Sort of these patterns of scales every so often where it looks like there might have been like a pattern of a hair if it was a person. Holding this incredibly large trident that has been sharpened with segmented and almost like saw blade markings at the end of the trident where the blade is. As it sort of moves around the beach, it sort of turns and clocks this strange opalescent dome sitting on the beach and moves carefully and cautiously up towards it, sticking to the tree line, staying out of sight, but not out of sight for Lyra, and obviously if she's pointing it out to you guys, anyone who's looking can see it as well. Coming out from behind one of the trees, he grabs a stone, chucks it as it bounces off the edge, bounces off the edge of the hut. Moves up a little bit closer,
It's
tongue flicking out, forked tongue flicking out, tasting the air. Yeah?
it's opaque from the outside, so
It is, yeah.
he can't look in, can he?
No, he can't see anything. All he sees is that white opalescent coloration that we were describing before.
Yeah.
So he can't see anything inside of it.
I'll start to get ready to ready a spell, but I'll be like, it should be fine. You can probably not get in, and
As I sort of
Very
start hearing you sort of start making like the preparations for a spell, I will pop my head out real quick and go, quick tips. Spells don't work in the dome. You have to be outside of the dome. The arrows, though, I'm pretty sure they can pass through. Okay. Yep. Oh, yep. And sort of rummage myself back into my bedroll.
okay. Well, in that case, then he's going to lean over, and then from the back, the mechanism that goes tick, 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 and brings his mace up, and I'll pop it out.
Yeah.
Well, we should be fine because I trust our friend's magic, but just in case.
You sort of hear a grunt from by the bedroll.
Yes, this was a compliment. Then better go to her.
The Yuan Ti, this male Yuan Ti, moves closer and closer, eventually coming up to the edge, holding his trident down, pointing it towards you, gently sort of pokes it against the outside. Seeing no response and seeing that his trident has no effect, he steps up and places a hand upon the outside of the dome, presses his ear against it and tries to listen.
Oh,
Moves
not
back,
like that.
begins sort of like moving around, checking the soil around it, seeing footprints on the soil, moving in and out of the hut. He begins sort of tracing them back, disappears into the jungle, following the footprints of where you guys came from.
Oh no, he's gonna go straight to the lizard folk.
We shouldn't let him live.
That's
Do we
definitely
take him out?
If
Do it?
he's here alone, he is just a tracker or a scout for a large force. We cannot let him live, or he will give away our position.
That's true, and it'll be a chase instead of a.
I do not wish to lose the element of surprise against the Yuan Ti.
Good point. Shall we draw? Can we draw him back?
You just sort of hear in the bedroll, shoot him in the head then and be done with it.
How far away is he?
Very well then.
I will move us across to I'll move us across to the map. I think it sounds like we're going to need the map for positioning, so I will do that. Let me move us across to the map, and I will. I better quickly put down a Lehman's tiny hut.
Hell yeah.
Hell
So,
yeah.
Hell yeah.
Let's quickly draw Lehman's tiny hut.
Yeah, brother.
That's a circle, isn't it? That's a square.
At the moment, it's going to be Lehman's tiny gank.
There we go. There's a circle. Lehman's what?
Tiny gank.
Are we prison shivving this man? Are we? Right. So 10 foot by 10 foot, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's 10 foot radius.
Oh wait, yeah, 10-foot radius.
Oh,
So
So
20.
it's actually
that's pretty big.
this. It's actually this big.
Hmm.
Hang on, sorry. Got Lehman's tiny hut. It's a big old boy, isn't it?
Hmm.
There we go. It's actually that big. Amazing. So that's where you guys dropped it. Now I better put a U1T on the board for you. Hey, drop down a U1T. Where are we?
Will we have a couple of seconds before the fight starts for just a quick strat?
I am happy to allow it.
Alright. So, if we can tie him up as quickly as possible, perhaps with a thorn whip, I can make him possibly drop his weapon while our other friend with the bows. I mean, I'm pretty sure you're happy to shoot him in the head, aren't you? But
Oh, yes. 3 quick arrows in the back of the head. That would be preferable.
that
Yes.
sounds good to me.
Do you wish for him to... Do we want to keep him alive? Or are you happy
Is there
for me
any-
to dispatch him?
Any particular reason why we need to?
Well, he might know where the ruins are.
That's true.
Wouldn't
I
tell us.
thought you had an idea where they were anyway.
I have a rough idea, but not a precise location. If you're happy for me to track to the ruins without his assistance, I'm happy to take you. Believe me, I would like nothing more than to put this fellow down.
Alright, well,
I think we just kill him.
yeah,
Sounds good to me. Say no more.
consider it a signing bonus.
Very good.
I will grab initiative checks from every single one of you, please. Could I have you in initiative order?
Oh, wait, I have to click on the token first.
You didn't click on your token.
Okay, I got this. Ah,
All right, so
Fuck.
let's quickly get the fuck. So 9 for Mira. Let's get yours sorted out first. Mira, did anyone else not click on their token?
there we go.
No, I'm all good.
Thank you, everybody who clicked on their tokens. Disadvantage for anyone who didn't click on their token. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm not that mean. Alrighty, so first to act is Lyra. You see as the Yuan Ti begins sort of moving towards the edge of the forest. Currently he is about 25 feet away from... Yeah, 25, 30 feet away from you at this point. What would you like to do, Lyra?
So, she is going to... she's just gonna straight up take a step out of the hut.
Yep.
Is that considered cover where he is? Like...
Not so much cover per se, because it's a tree, so we're seeing it from the top down. So the palm tree that's sort of taking up.
Oh,
It's,
yeah.
it's not really full cover. It's not half cover. It's like quarter cover at best.
Sweet. Well, what she's gonna do then, I think, is she's just gonna drop a 20-foot radius of spike growth around Yuan Ti.
Yep, absolutely.
To cast that, and then with her bonus action, she's going to shift into a creature that I haven't decided yet.
I did something different.
What's the
Yeah.
radius of spike growth
Something
again? Is it 20-foot radius or 10-foot?
Yeah,
radius?
20-foot radius.
20-foot radius.
Yeah.
Goodness me, you guys are going to be able to see this.
It's a second
There
level
you go.
spell.
Yeah.
Boom! Yeah, it is. Sparkers.
And I think she's just going to turn into a giant constrictor snake, as always.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'll make sure I've got a snake asset for you in a minute. Fantastic. So as you drop this spell, you step out, go, blah, 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 throw these spikes on the ground, which immediately begin sprouting into this full-blown mess of plant life that immediately begins sort of spearing into his body. You hear a serpentine voice call out, Sekarfotk, as he looks down and begins swearing at this spike, this mess of spikes that's growing up and piercing through his scales. And then he turns around and sees a giant constrictor snake. And sort of like looks a little bit confused, and then
Betrayal.
Almost.
Like sort of curled up around the hut, almost as if she's just like a random ass constrictor snake that's just been like, "Hey, you fucked with my thing." I'm like, "Fuck you, man."
Yeah, look, go on. And you're as a giant constrictor snake, your size is large, isn't it?
It might be.
Pretty sure it's large.
Or
I'm
is
gonna
it?
give you
Yeah.
control.
Oh no, he's huge. It's huge.
Huge, yeah. Then definitely
Yeah.
justified in making your snake token nice and big.
Yeah.
Oh god,
Yeah,
don't.
that's good.
There you go.
Huge beast.
Fantastic. So Lyra, you should have control of your snake, and you should be able to see. Or maybe not. Hang on. Now you should be able to see. There you go. Okay, Lockie, because that's your action, bonus action. Did you want to do any more movement, or are you happy where you are?
No, she's sort of she's quite happy, sort of curled around the hut defensively.
Yeah, absolutely. Alrighty. Next up is Lockie.
All right. I'm going to step out over Lyra's tail, maybe up onto Lyra's tail, and wind up my palm again. And it's going to spin really fast, create some friction, and I'm going to cast Heat Metal on his trident.
Ooh, very cool.
Alrighty. I need to make a Constitution save if I'm holding the trident, I believe.
I believe so, yes.
I believe it is.
Can I get Constitution save for 15?
Constitution save for 15. And is that... It'd be on the turn when you cast Heat Metal. Let me do it.
Yep. It's 2d8 damage if you fail.
16. Sorry. What was the DC?
15.
15. Ugh. As he sort of like clutches the trident in his hand. Oh no, so he drops it, doesn't he? That's the con save if he...
Yeah, the con save is he'll drop it. So
Yeah.
he still takes the 2d8, holding it.
Ooh.
Alrighty. So in that case, he is going to drop the trident immediately. Yeah, no, he will drop the trident immediately. He doesn't want to be holding onto a burning hot trident as it basically begins like warming up in his hands. Now, Lockie, just so you know, you will have to step outside of the dome to cast. Oh, you are. Sorry, I was looking at the old one. Let me just quickly read. Any creature in physical contact that takes 2d8 fire count damage when you cast the spell. Yeah, so he just takes that straight away. Throw or drop the object if you can. He's going to throw it, actually. Yeah, he's going to fling it towards the giant. He's going to fling it towards you because you stepped out and set fire to his thing. Yeah, so he takes the 11 damage as it kicks in, as this heat metal kicks in. He then looks towards you as you basically step out and begin casting the spell and speaking these eldritch words under your voice. He looks forward, goes, and flings this trident towards you. That is a 21 to hit. I'm going to guess that doesn't hit.
Nope.
Okay.
Damn.
It bounces off.
Shield.
Yeah, it bounces off the side of the dome twing, and flicks off into the darkness. It is unable to penetrate your very tough armor. Anything else on your turn, Lockie?
I'm going to... He's going to wind up his cogs again, bonus action, and do his... I can't remember what it's called, but the +8 to his health.
I can't remember what it's called either, but I know what you're talking about.
The defensive field.
Defensive field. You watch as the armor just covers Lockie as a helmet goes down over his face and gives him this sort of like temporary HP, this extra layer of protection. Yorvith, you are inside the tent. What would you like to do?
Nice. Good question. But
Tiny tent.
probably so I'll use my bonus action to hide for one.
Yeah. There's no need to roll. He has no idea how many creatures are in this thing, so you roll me a stealth anyway, because we'll keep it as an active stealth heading forwards. But there's no need for me to. 19. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Nice. Alright, so in that case, I will just take a shot with my longbow
From inside the hut.
from inside the hut. So I'm hoping I have line of sight between the snake and Lockie. Would I have line of sight?
Yeah, the snake's quite low to the ground. I'd say that
Oh, okay.
unless Lyra is actively
Around it.
leaning up and veering up. Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
So, unfortunately, as you fire this shot, you've got this lined up perfectly. You nail it. You've got him dead to rights. You just unleash the arrow. As it hits the edge of the hut, it doesn't pass through. It immediately bounces off and shatters.
Sorry, have a quick look at that, Owen. It's from the spell.
Creatures and objects within the dome. Oh, it is objects within the dome.
Arrows. So only the spells won't
Yeah.
work, but the arrows will.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, apologies.
Valerian
Yeah,
did say
sorry.
that
So I'm
arrows
sorry
can
to
work.
drop that on
I
you.
thought no.
Sort
I
of-
thought you'd messed up because I was like, oh no, I don't think that's how that works. But no, you are correct. Sorry, it's. I was just reading the next bit. All other creatures and objects are barred. The arrow right through spears into his chest as we rewind. That's your fear. Your anxiety is like, oh no, is it going to hit the edge of the dome? I didn't think this
Yeah,
through. The
that's
arrow
true.
right through the dome
Nice.
smashes into the chest of the Yuan-Ti, dealing. Would you like to roll me some damage?
Yeah, sure. I will roll again because I'm rolling with advantage just to see if I get it.
Yeah, go for it.
Which I don't. So it's going to be
28,
1d8,
22.
Man. I only had 22.
Yeah.
So
7
14.
piercing. 7 sneak.
Nice.
Seven.
Absolutely.
So 14.
As the arrow
Oh,
thuds into his chest, the Yuan-Ti staggers back, looking at this dome in horror, not really grasping because
what is happening?
he's got no idea what's in there. Yeah, looking at this dome in horror, not really understanding what's going on. Anything else on your turn, Yervith?
Yeah, sure. I will attack again. Take my second
Yeah.
action. My second attack. For 27 and... Oh man, that would have been good for the first roll. For 5 piercing damage.
Yeah, 27's going to hit 5 piercing, 12 sneak attack.
And
Oh,
then
doesn't have the
for-
sneak. No, that's
Sneak
right.
attack
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
carry over.
I don't
That's-
get because he knows where
Oh
I
man,
am.
yeah, you're right. I got excited too. I saw the 12 and I was like, yeah, nice.
Yeah, that would be good.
Unfortunately not. would've
And
been
then
nice, wouldn't
for I'll do the third attack as well for Dread Ambusher. So
Yeah.
roll again. That would probably miss though. Sucks.
12 is not quite enough. As it shoots over, it embeds itself in the tree next to him as he ducks underneath and moves, his body sort of whipping and winding about, very serpent-like.
Cool.
I
I will
Illyrian.
also
Oh, sorry, yeah.
move. Sorry, just to
Yeah, where would you like to move to? No.
Just the top there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
Jin/Illyrian.
Illyrian's in his bedroll. He's going to turn over and cover his ears as he attempts to try and sleep.
From inside the bedroll. Could you make me a Constitution saving throw, please?
All right.
Oh, amazing.
11. Yeah, you're struggling to get to sleep. There's like cries of alarm. You can hear like these like as spikes begin growing from the
Okay.
earth. As arrows are being shot out, Lockie starts like muttering under his breath, and then you hear this Yuan-Ti like scream and then throw something at him and dunk off the outside of the hut. Yeah, you're struggling to fall asleep. It's hard.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to climb out of the bedroll,
Yep.
groggily sort of stumble out of the bed, out of the thing,
Yep.
cast my Eldritch Blasts.
Yep.
So it's
18?
18,
Yep.
11 force damage. That's the first beam.
Yep.
Nice.
21, 12 force damage. That's the
Yep.
second beam. I'm sort of just going to do them, just unload them onto him, walk back into the dome, climb back into my bedroll, and try and go to sleep again.
Oh, nice.
Amazing.
Mira, you see this happen. It's your turn.
I'm not even going to do a bonus action.
No.
Bonus action sleep.
Bonus action sleep.
Bonus action to try to get back to sleep. I'll do another.
I'd like to bonus action sleepily groan again. Yeah.
I'd literally throw my pillow at the Yuan-Ti.
Yeah. Mira.
Mira has a little look at Illyrian and just be like, I wish I could join you. Yes, okay. She'll pop her head out. And then she will, and I think that you said that she's close enough. Yes.
Yeah.
She'll pop her head out, see the Yuan-Ti and say, I suggest you come over here and be embraced by my snake friend so we can all get some
Oh.
sleep.
I better roll a wisdom saving throw from memory. That's an
quickly,
8.
Owen.
Yeah.
That's
Sorry, just quickly. It says here the spell ends if I leave its area, like the dome. Will you give me like a 5 to 10 foot grace period, or even if I just stick my hand out and do the Eldritch Blasts?
Oh, that's a good question. How much of a dick am I?
It's up to you. Because
How much of a dick am I?
if I know, it will just drop. If I put my hand down and just cast the spells, I'm still technically in.
I'm happy to. What I'm going to do, I'm going to flavor it. As you go to get out of your sleeping bag, you don't fully get out. So as you're like stumbling to the edge, you actually fall over, and as you fall, half of your body lands outside, and that's the Eldritch Blast going off as you actually impacting the sand. And then as you like realize you're out of the hut, you sort of like turn over and go, "Ugh," and like pull yourself back in the sleeping bag, and like hungry caterpillar worm your way back inside
Perfect.
back inside the dome.
Right.
Only because it's hilarious. That's a wisdom
Sorry.
save of 8, Mira. I think that's a fail.
No, that's a fail.
The 1T. What's the rules with spike growth again? Could you refresh my memory? I believe I have
2d4 per 5 feet. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Damn.
So it's going to be 5, 10, 15 feet. Would you like to roll me 64, please?
Ouch.
That's going to hurt.
Yo.
64. Roll. Wait, no, that's not it. /R 64. Here we go. 14.
Oof.
Woof. That is brutal. I'm just trying to see if there's like, must be worded as a manner that sounds reasonable. Yep. I mean, it says if it asks itself to do something obviously harmful, but you're not. I don't think you knew this was going to happen, Mira, and I don't think the creature knew what the spike growth was.
Well, I also said not to like stand on the spike growth. I said just come towards.
Come over. Yeah, you didn't describe an action that is specifically harmful.
No.
The action you've described is specifically harmful, but you didn't describe an action that's specifically harmful. I am going to allow this because it's really funny, and also because I don't think you realized when you cast this spell what that would mean.
Sure.
Is that correct? I don't think. Did you know what you were doing?
Mira probably wouldn't know what she was doing though. It takes some of the damage. It doesn't take all the damage. That's the other reason why, because it doesn't take the full damage from this anyway. As it moves over and gets to the edge of the spike growth, it then sort of looks really confused at you and the snake, and says something in this very hissing snake-like language, seeming a bit confused as to why it just did that. Anything else on your turn, Mira? I will just pop my head back in the dome.
Okay.
Dragon
It's
head
its
out,
turn.
dragon head back.
Yeah, it's its turn. You said, come over here and be embraced by our serpent.
That's my snake. Yep.
It moves over, it hugs Lyra, it has now completed the terms of its suggestion, and it then bites her.
Oh, it's got another action, dang it.
Oh, no.
It has multi-attack. So, Lyra,
Larry don't give a fuck.
23 does hit you, I'm guessing.
Oof.
Yes, that definitely would.
So,
Oof.
you take 12 piercing damage,
Oof.
and as a giant snake, what's your status with poison? Are you resistant? Don't think you are from memory.
1 second, I don't think I am.
That's weird.
Actually, really
I mean, like the snake itself
I don't have
is the
any
one.
resistance.
Yeah, it makes sense because snakes, yet even though they do have the venom to venomate, I don't think they necessarily have like resistance to it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Isn't it
They're not
some
honey
snakes
badgers.
that die?
That's all
Not
right.
like honey badgers, yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
honey
not honey
badgers
badgers.
are just little trucks.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
They just don't give a shit.
Fuck.
Yeah, you take an additional 9 poison damage from this as it bites in and
How much is
begins
that
sort
in
of...
total? Sorry, I completely forgot the original one.
21,
Yeah, thank you.
12 piercing, 9
7,
poison.
yeah. Oh, yeah, 9 poison. Sorry, I was looking at the second roll. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a lot of damage.
sorry. That's its full turn. Lyra. How what would you like to do?
I was feeling a little bit mad at this dude, so what she's gonna do, she's gonna reach out with her giant snake tail, wrap it around his neck, and pull him, in towards her into a giant constriction, like,
Hard.
just like a, you're not going anywhere, and it's just,
Nice.
pulls him in, tightens up, you hear the bones cracking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Roll
Roll to hit
that.
first. Yep.
But she would imagine it would be like...
10. 10 is not quite enough. In Lyra's mind,
He's
what
already hugging her.
what happens is what you just described is what you think is going to happen. You're so ready for this. As you pull your tail, he just slides off. He's not holding it with any real force. He's not clinging onto you. The word was embrace. Embrace isn't like a full, like he can't even get his arms around you. So as you sort of move your tail, he just slides off and like dunk into the sand. And the other thing is as well, like he let go as soon as he had finished embracing you. As soon as he embraced you, he then let go. You go to grab him, he sort of moves and ducks underneath, nimbly avoiding your constriction. Is there anything else that you would like to do? I think
Yes,
that's it, isn't it?
She's going to, with her movement, she's
Yes.
going to sort of try and stretch out her form a bit and like really try and like block all modes of exit. So like he either has to try and get past Lockie, or he's got to go like back through the spikes essentially. Like so, she's sort of trying to like block.
Oh yeah,
his
that's easy.
path.
Yeah. No, that's easy. You just move your bulk in and rear up and begin hissing wildly at him. Yeah,
Big
easy
L
peasy.
shape.
Yeah, exactly right. Lockie, I think we pass over to you.
Yes. I just wanted to ask one clarification.
Yes.
So if I make a okay, I have a cantrip, which is a touch attack.
Yes.
That wouldn't be my attacks per action. It wouldn't be twice. It's just the once for the action, right?
It's an action, exactly. It's not an attack, it's an action.
Okay, cool.
So you get multi-attack or you get a touch spell. It's an action.
Okay, sweet. Too easy. All right, I will. No, I'll do it anyway. So, a little bit like a play buzzer. You know, those buzzers, the joke buzzers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to shocking grasp him.
Oh,
Oh man. But like defib his chest is the action I saw. Like you had both hands out. Yeah, you're going to defib him. Absolutely, yeah, go for it. I think it's a spell attack for shocking grasp. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Oof.
12 is not quite enough.
Damn.
That's
It's so close though. Yeah, as you go to strike, he's so nimble. He just moves and ducks under your hands, sort of whipping back and pushing you away, preventing you from getting any grip or contact with his scaly skin.
Okay, and I would have moved 5 feet towards him as well.
Yeah.
All right. No, there's not much I can do on a bonus action, so I'll just hold there and sit behind
Yeah.
the shield.
Amazing.
Yervith, what say you?
Whoa, alrighty. I am. What am I going to do? I am going to sort of just get out of the. Yeah, I'm going to leave the bubble, and I'm going to dart around the back of this tree, so I'm still kind of hidden, I suppose.
Yep.
And I will bonus action hide again.
Yeah,
So do
absolutely.
you want me to roll another stealth check?
I'm happy to use your one from previous because it's the first time he's rolling against it, so I will roll for him again. You just,
Sweet.
like a shadow, a whisper of a shadow, a susurrus in the night. Yeah, you just
And-
disappear through the trees.
Yeah, sweet. Alright, I'll take another shot with my bow.
24 is going to hit.
Or oof, big damage.
How do
You
you
have
want to do
advantage
this?
as well. Oh,
yeah,
you've killed him.
nice. So I
Roll with
guess
advantage. Let's see if you get the crit. Just because it'd be
Oh.
fun.
Why not? That'd be fun.
Let's see it.
No.
23. But 24 hits, a total of 19 damage. Yeah, how do you want to do this?
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
as a Yuan Ti is like sort of nimbly dodging his way out of like all out of Lockie's like shocking grasp and out of Lyra's sort of like attempt to constrict him. He sort of like Yervith just sort of darts like through the darkness of the night to this position and just takes a shot like clean at the Yuan Ti, catching him off guard, straight in the head.
It pierces directly through the eye socket, hitting some important part in the brainstem. The Yuan Ti sort of shivers, tail twitching, as the body begins sort of like spasming as it drops to the ground, writhing around before succumbing, just
Nice.
lying still. You are all out of initiative.
Cool. I'll go collect my arrows.
Yes.
Sort of pull the arrow out of the
Yeah.
YT and with no real care at all.
Yervith just sort of steps up, foot on the Yuan Ti's face as he pulls the
Yeah.
arrow out, then kicks it aside
Yeah.
and continues sort of collecting his other arrows from the body. Yeah.
Lara, how are you feeling?
Oh, I'm fine. The poison didn't really take effect. But one thing I might do is she sort of hooks the end of her tail around like his neck or something, and is just sort of like starting to just inspect them for anything that's sort of worth picking, essentially. So like items or like even stuff like herbalism. Like Lyra is just a little bit fucked. Like, just
let's get an investigation check from that. I think.
Lyra, if he poisoned you, would it stand to reason that he would have some kind of venom sac inside of his body?
That would be my assumption.
Oh God, don't like the sound of this.
I do.
I mean, just as a point of fact, we may need something like that sometime in the future. Would it be perhaps prudent to extract that?
I think so. Hey, Lucky, do you have a knife? Can you just come over here for a second? And like with like the tip of her tail, like she's not dropping form. She's like drawing on the person. Like she's like, okay, you'd probably find a venom sac around here. So if you make an incision here, dig down, and like it's sort of like talking through like approximately where a snake's venom sac would be.
Oh, fantastic.
This is super chill. As you begin like sort of cutting through his neck, trying to look for the poison sacs, you find two sort of nodules around either side of the larynx that look like they could do the job. Very small amounts of poison in each one, though.
Okay, I will attempt to extract them.
I'm gonna love to see a sleight of hand check as you delicately extract.
Can Lyra help him in any way, like by positioning the body?
Do you need some assistance with that?
Actually, he's about to cut and be like, it's possible that I'm not the right person for this job.
I mean, I'm happy to help you.
All right, well, he'll reverse the knife.
Yeah, take the knife.
Yeah.
I sort of squat down and start to make my incisions around the sacs.
Yeah. See some, not the ball sac, the venom sac. I'd like to see a little sleight of hand check. Yeah. No, he does both. Yova's got one dagger in each hand, and he's just bookending it.
Double vasectomy.
Oh no!
Oh no! Yova, a natural 1 for a total of 8. You misunderstand what they're asking you to do, and you just start stabbing the body. I kind of like the idea of like Yova's like there's a moment where he's like, I think I know what they want, and then like the flashbacks and the horrors that you faced, you're just like, I think I saw it move. It twitches ever so slightly, and Yervith just starts going like 2 daggers going like Drax style into this Yuan-Ti. yeah. Lyra's tail as a giant snake just right into a big snake face.
I'm like covered in like Yuan-Ti blood, and I'm just like, it's
spraying up like this red spray all over your face.
You wanted the venom.
Ideally, yes. I admire your enthusiasm, but it was a little.
I don't think you're gonna get any venom.
I think there's some on your cheek. Actually, I wouldn't touch your face for a little while.
Oh, really? Oh,
yes. Just to get a.
Get the cloak up. So sad.
The cloak. You just wipe off a bit of blood and maybe some venom. You don't know. It's hard to tell. There's just so much blood.
Sorry about that. Terribly sorry. That's,
best natural one I've ever seen.
I gotta deal with some stuff. Clearly.
Crazy artists are just like.
It's so good. It's such a good times natural one because you guys are like, yeah, we're gonna get some Yuan-Ti venom. We're gonna carefully extract it. And then Loki's like, maybe I'm not the best.
I'm the
I could do this. Like, we'll hand it over to the rogue. The rogue can do it. And Yevith bends over and then just goes. I love it. Yeah, this like really like hardcore wild bushman that you've seen is like a cross between like Geralt of Rivia, Bear Grylls, just loses his shit and thinks it's twitching and just starts going nuts, stabbing it. He just starts stabbing this dead body incessantly, and then like pauses and then just like, oh shit, yeah, sorry guys, it was moving, I swear.
I'm so sorry. I don't know what came over me.
Yeah, you don't think there's any salvageable venoms. It's just a mess.
You sort of hear off from the distance in the dome. You'll just sort of hear.
Except you don't. So just in the dome.
Oh yeah, you will. Mira will hear. Are you done yet? Please
I
stop.
think they're definitely done. I think that's very dead. Like, very dead.
I'm done.
Oh yeah, they can't. Illyrian realizes that they can't hear him, so he'll just say to Mira, "Mira, get them inside."
Yes, that's
just-
right. They're just having a bit of fun. It looks like they're doing something.
I'm just gonna.
It's so
meditate.
loud.
I'm just gonna meditate out here for.
That's good. I'm just going to. Is it okay if I just take those back?
Oh yes.
Yes, it's all right.
They're just covered in blood. They're just dripping bits of viscera, and like you see a bit of the spinal column has been like cut onto the dagger and is in one of the notches. It's just awful.
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm so terribly sorry.
it's absolutely fine.
I'm gonna take some time. I'm just gonna go up to that tree there. I'll be
Send to yourself, like that's right. Did some deep breathing exercises.
I'm just gonna. You see Yervith like go up to a tree and he like grabs one of the vines and he just goes whoop and he just disappears in the hole because I'm gonna cast rope trick.
Oh, nice. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So here's what you guys see from the outside. It's exactly as Matt described it. Yervith grabs a vine, he tugs on it, and then like Mary Poppins style just ascends into the tree and disappears from sight, and you don't see Yervith anymore. He's just gone.
I'm gone.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I like that it's a rope as well.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Oh
I
wait,
fucking
that's
love
how you've
rope
been
trick.
hiding.
I would like to think,
Yeah.
keeping with the flavor of the ranger and like how I do my magic, it's literally just a vine, and I'm just like, woo, and
Yeah.
I just fly up this vine into a
Yeah.
void.
And I kind of the way I imagine rope trick works for you is like as you touch the tree or whatever it is you're going to be hiding in, like a hollow appears inside the tree and like it creates this space inside that you can like chill out in, like treehouse style.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
yeet yourself up into a tree using a vine.
Yeah. I yeet myself into a tree.
Rope trick is hard to flavour, and that is good flavour. I like
That's
that.
very good flavor.
Rope trick is I love the ranger twist of rope trick as he just whoop, 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 just disappears up a vine into the tree.
Mary Poppins version of rope trick in this
Yeah.
case.
Yeah.
The crazy Mary Poppins version.
It works well with a rogue as well, so it's
Yeah.
very fitting. Yeah.
It's nuts. If you're an assassin rogue, it would be horrifying.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You could you just imagine like the assassin rogue. You basically like you sneak yourself into the castle. You just like rope trick yourself above the throne, and as the king comes out, you just push an anvil out the rope trick.
I'm sure.
Wait,
That's the idea.
8 people can hide in.
Yeah, it's massive. Yeah.
Yeah, it's huge. Not as impressive as the Lehman's tiny hut, but it's
I don't know. Arguably this is
for
cool.
an hour, it's pretty cool.
That's true for an hour. Lehman's Tiny Hut's got better versatility, but yeah, rope trick's
8
pretty
hours.
damn good. It's a really good get out of jail free card of like, oh, there's a monster coming.
Boing.
Well, everyone can just go up the rope.
Yeah, how quickly could everyone go up the rope though? Like for one person to eat themselves, sure, but like if you're getting 6 people
Well,
up
that's
a
a good
rope,
point.
that can be a bit rough. Yeah, so Yervith just disappears inside the hollow of a tree. Like he literally, you just see him like pull on a rope and then disappear into the canopy of a tree, and he's just gone. The body of this UNT is just like slowly bleeding out onto the black sand.
Oh, should we dispose of that?
Um,
Oh, I'm not there.
I was kind of wondering what would happen if I ate it, to be honest. Like, we just, like, she's just saying.
Yeah.
All right, it's
Oh
one of
my
those
God.
sessions. It's one of those sessions tonight.
Yeah, it's one of those things.
I did wonder.
Yeah.
Okay.
Someone said, "Oh, we'll just be super chill tonight," and I was like, "Nuh-uh."
Alrighty.
Wow.
So Lyra, your jaw disengages, dislocates, and you begin eating the body of the UNT.
She's just sort of like, in a jungle survival situation, like, you do not waste a good food opportunity when it is presented, especially if you are a huge fucking snake.
Yeah.
Like, it is bleeding all over the place. Like, looks delicious. All of her, like, taste senses are, like, going, like, food. She's
Is
What
this-
happens?
Is this cannibalism? Because in a way it kind of is, because you're like a humanish snake. This UNT is a humanish snake. A snakish human.
It's like a shooting
Question:
net.
what happens when she does eat the?
Yeah, we're gonna
person
find that out. We're
and
gonna find
turns
that
back into Lyra.
out. We're gonna find that out.
I turn to
Don't worry.
Illyrian and I say, it looks like now Lyra's eating the one too.
You just sort of hear You'll probably just hear a groan from the
Very horror.
I was thinking about throwing it in the lake, but this is an excellent idea.
Lyra, a Constitution saving throw seems appropriate here as you consume a body. I don't,
Oh my god!
and I think we've got the episode title for tonight: "Consuming a Body." 15. Yeah, I mean, you've done this before. You've eaten people before.
Actually, probably had.
Yeah. I don't know what to describe as you dislocate your jaw and begin. This body.
Essentially, just the slow consumption. Like, the full peristalsis going on. You just see a giant, it's kind of long. Like, it's not like one central lump in the middle.
Oh my god!
It's like a big...
Yeah. Yevith like puts his head out of the tree for a bit. It's like, oh, what's oh my!
You just hear this, and then like a little splatter of vomit just hits the sand from somewhere in the tree. Like no one can see where from.
Traumatizing.
Yeah. I'm not going to describe it in any more detail. I feel like Ali's done a very good enough job there already. That's what happens. Lyra. I don't know what to say, really. You may. I better remove the token from the map. We should just delete that. Yeah. What are you guys doing after that? Lyra, do you drop your snake form?
Drops the snake form, goes back to bed.
Okay, as you drop the snake form, and you begin turning back into your humanoid form, you feel full, you feel sated.
It's like her clothes. It's like her clothes,
The snake form. What happens to the snake form stays with the snake form. So like
Right,
any damage the
gotcha.
druid form takes stays with the snake. It doesn't get passed on to the druid. Therefore, it makes sense that it wouldn't have any effect on her, but I did want to have a moment where like Lyra's like stomach, like alien style, the auntie could for a second I thought about describing that, and then I went, nah. I think that'd be too much horror, and I think we've had enough descriptions of gross stuff. I think we'll just leave it there for another time. And Lyra turns back into Lyra form and just licks her fingers and carries on.
Does she walk back into the dome?
Yeah, just patting her stomach.
As
rubbing her
Lyra,
stomach. What a good feed.
as Lyra walks back in the dome, I'll sort of grunt from my bedroll. Lyra, did you just eat that thing?
Yes, it was delicious and filling. I'm not gonna have to eat for days.
I pinch myself or slap my face.
You
to see
don't
if
wake up. You don't wake up. What's worse is the nightmare doesn't seem to have an end, as far as you can tell.
I'll just sort of shrug and try and get back to sleep. I'm gonna deal with that in the morning.
Can I have a wisdom saving throw, Jin, please?
Wisdom's not high.
15.
Okay, 15.
You know that your nightmares, maybe not tonight, maybe not tomorrow night, but at some point your nightmares are going to be haunted by this. Anyone who watched this happen is having nightmares about this for the next couple of nights.
That's what I'm helpful. That's what I'm thankful for. I didn't actually see it.
Anyone who saw this, you're not rolling. This is going to be like you're going to wake up in the middle of the night and think you're awake, but it's a dream, and Lyra is going to be eating you slowly, not in snake form, Lyra form, just with.
Oh my god, it's even more terrifying.
And then you're going to wake up and it's just your sleeping bag, just your bedroll around you. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Oh, fuck me. You all finish your long rests. Some of you not very good night's sleep. Yeah. Yeah. Not wanting to tie the bedroll tight around you, like trying to keep it loose, because at any moment, if it's like around you, you just get that image of like the last gulp as the Yuan-Ti just disappears down Lyra's throat. Yeah, that's what happens.
It's worth noting that Yervith doesn't sleep. He goes into a trance. So this is like he's just like
After an hour, the rope trick ends. My question is, does Yervith get out of it before then, or does he just drop as it ends?
I'd like to think that he. No, I think he would get out. But I think it would be pretty funny if he just like lies in the grass, like Polish, just like what?
Oh my God.
After an hour, Yervith like sheepily walks back in the Lehman study hut on the opposite side to Lyra, keeping a bit of distance.
I have an observation for everybody. I remember Yervith saying that, where were these people when I was alone in the forest because of the dome and all that? And then he might be questioning that.
Yeah, I'm just like...
Loneliness has its merits.
Things were so much more simpler, but it was just me.
Yeah. Strangely, the horrors of which you've seen, it doesn't seem like they have an end either, much like Jin's nightmares. You all awaken from your long rest feeling refreshed and ready to greet the day. I think. You'll benefit from long rest.
Good.
What would you guys like to do?
I think everyone would probably be a little uneasy.
Yep.
Yes.
I think Mira would make breakfast because that's her thing, and she'll just look at Lyra and be like, "Do you need?"
I'm good. I'm good.
Just,
Do you offer her breakfast?
oh, she does. Like she always does.
You go to like offer her a sausage, and I was like, "I'm full." I had a banger last night.
Wow.
Well, yeah, but I don't know if you're recovered, but if you are from your double horror,
You
guys need more Bahamut in your life.
I would gratefully take some breakfast if it is going.
yes.
I look at Lyra just like, that's I'm not going there. That's impressive, but I don't need that on my conscience anymore.
I guess what I'm going to bring up is, how many animals have you guys eaten? Because, comparatively, the animals can talk, the Yuan Ti can talk. I mean, what really is the difference?
The only issue here is that we ate ours morsel-sized. You ate an entire humanoid in one gulp.
I mean,
I was a huge snake at the time.
Snakes have been known to eat their young, but that is just...
Are you suggesting that snake ate its young?
Oh no! It was just an analogy. Big snake, small snake.
I like you explaining it as if it needed explaining. For podcast listeners, what Matt did with his hands to help describe this was he had one big mouth and one little mouth, and then ate the big mouth with his little mouth with his hands. Which is almost like describing it to a child. But my question is, why are you describing this to a child? What's wrong with you? Why would you describe this to a child?
I will.
I did love the visual. That was great.
I'll say to Lyra and be like,
just like, what do you want from me?
I get out 2 socks.
Yeah, it's like a sock puppet. It's like sock puppet. Oh my god. Check it off. Check it out. I'm not getting the plot back on track this session, am I? This is it, isn't it?
Lyra, what drove you to eat the thing?
I'm not getting it back on if you keep asking questions like that. Go on.
Waste not, what not? I mean, I am actually being quite serious here. When you're in the jungle, there may be creatures all around, but, a ready meal never does present itself. If something does, show up, you take that opportunity.
It's true. It's true.
Not know when the next time you're going to be able to eat.
The only thing is, literally, that guy, and I point to Yervith, he gave us berries that completely filled our stomachs.
Mira looks down at a full pack of rations.
She will always make breakfast. Always.
Anyway, yes, let's move on from.
One other point is,
Oh.
say we left the body, it would attract other, beings to eat it.
I'd already rolled to see what would be attracted by the body, and then you were like, I'm going to eat it. I just went, all right, cool. I rolled that for nothing. I just got on by that. I was like, the smell of fresh blood in the forest.
Perfect
I thought that might
use of,
attract us. That was good. That was good. You avoided me rolling some
I
random
mean-
encounters.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it, but it's still pretty gross. So
I'm more
It
curious.
makes me feel
about-
icky.
Yeah, I'm just a bit more curious about how this all came about. I was asleep pretty much the whole night, so very. Yeah,
that's probably
okay.
a good call.
Well, sleep half the night. You all kept making noises.
Oh, I don't think I would have made many noises.
Stab, 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 stab.
I don't know what you're talking
Yes.
about. That's not me. I'm a professional.
I like the voice break on professional. It's good. I'm a professional. Oh man.
So,
You fit in so well with the team, Matt. You just
Yeah. Good.
so, what is our plan after last night's escapades?
I actually have been meaning to ask that question. Why is it that you're going to this temple?
Well, our lizard friends had suggested this. I don't even remember what the temple's called. I just remember, and I sort of look over to the water. Our guide, Seth, I think, before he met such a grisly end, was
Yes.
leading us towards this temple, but the name escapes me. Mira, do you remember the temple's name at all?
Do I?
I didn't put it in my notes.
Mira opens up her mind palace, and you watch as Mira's eyes just sort of close as she delves deep into her mind palace.
Mira's got all this written down just like me. Actually, it's better than me. Mira knows more than I do about what has happened.
Is that when you ask the DM questions?
Is it the Tomb of Diderus? Is that the name?
Tomb of Diderus, yes, it is.
Diderus? Yeah. Tomb of Diderus. I know. Yes. Tomb of Diderus. We are tracking this Yuan-Ti. We think they might be in league with our own enemies, potentially also going after this cache of treasure, which they covet above all else.
Tell me about this enemy that you're tracking.
Oh! Yes, we haven't explained this.
Yes.
Well, for the better part of a year, I think, we've been tracking down the cult of the dragon. They are amassing a huge hoard of treasure, somehow to release Tiamat, the Dragon Queen. We're trying our best to stop that. And my thoughts, I don't know about everything else, but one of these leaders or ex-leaders of the cult is somewhere here in this forest, and my thoughts were that they might be going after this hoard.
Seems logical to me. How long do you think he's? When was he last sighted? How many days ahead or behind do you think we are?
I think the lizard folks said that was it 2 or 3 days behind? Yeah.
Yeah, only a couple of days behind.
I suggest
They,
if you want to find your this fellow, we should probably make a move while the day is young.
Yes.
I'll keep an eye out for his tracks in case I pick him up. I might
He's
be able to help you.
dwarf, if that helps.
Short, stocky. Probably leaves a bit of a footprint, but a lot can happen in the jungle in a couple of days or so. So, yes, I'll keep an eye out. No promises, but I believe if he's anywhere, he's most likely making it for the ruins, although it will not be easy for us or for him. But I suggest we get ready and head off as soon as we can.
I'm ready. Mira's always ready. Always packed. Ready.
Very good.
Alrighty.
Let's head off.
And with that, with Yervith taking the lead and moving through the jungle, tracing your steps back towards one of the main pathways with which you've tracked, we will leave off for tonight. and pick up this session next week as you approach the Tomb of Daedalus. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. That was an awesome session.
So good.
Really, really putting the comedy tag to work tonight.
I derailed it so much.
Comedy
man.
or horror? I mean, I don't know. It could go
It's a
either
fine
way.
line.
It's a very fun
Yeah.
one.
It's a
I have
very
a
fun
headache
line.
from laughing so much, just quietly. So
Oh man, that was look, I was not expecting a lot of that, but that was fucking amazing. That was awesome. So yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. We will be back next Wednesday, same time, same place. I will run this session again just prior. So if you're watching us now, and it's actually next Wednesday, so that would be Wednesday the 8th. Stick around. You're about to watch the latest episode. If you're watching this and it's Wednesday the 1st, you're going to have to wait a week. Sorry, guys. For those of you who are joining us on the podcast and on YouTube, thank you so much for joining in. Please chuck us a like or a subscribe, or share it with your friends if you're enjoying our work. If you are new to D&D and you've never played it, go and give it a go. As you can hear tonight, it is just absolutely fucking hilarious good fun. Can't recommend D&D more highly. The whole reason we're doing this is because we were so inspired by D&D when we first started playing, because we I think Claire and I were watching a number of streams and listening to some podcasts, and we were like, yeah, let's give it a go. And now here we are. Like 3 years later, which is just nuts. So yeah, please go and give D&D a go if you haven't. And we can't wait to see you all again next week. Stay safe, stay well, and we will see you all next time. Farewell, everybody.
bye, everybody.
See you guys.
Farewell.
I'm sorry.
And that's where we're going to end. We're going to end on Europe. No, don't apologize. That was so much fun.
That
That was
And that-
so good.
That is
great.
where we will end. Good night, everyone.